Hi guys, how's it going? Today I'll share with you my Nath of the Gilt-leaf Commander 1v1 edition. Usually Commanders played, for those of you who haven't played Commander or are new to the format, Commander's more of a multiplayer Magic the Gathering format. It's fun to play with friends. Because my play group, there are play groups I play with that we play 1v1 or we play as a group for multiplayer. And this time I should just want to share with you for me, one of the best 1v1 commanders, which is Nath of the Gilt-leaf. Okay, so why did I choose Nath of the Gilt-leaf? It's because with the 5cc, you get a 4/4 body, and the ability is one that really stood out for me. Like at the beginning of your keep, you may have target opponent discard at random. So in this case, since it's 1v1, your opponent doesn't have any choice but him being the target, and being a random card, that's still best than him choosing to choose whichever he wants to discard. And whenever an opponent discards a card, you may create a 1/1 green elf warrior creature token, which is to your advantage. Because you discard a card and then create an army of 1/1 green warrior tokens, elf warrior tokens. So let's start. So Nath of the Gilt-leaf is your commander, obviously. Let's start with the lands. We have obviously a command tower. You don't want to miss that. Reflecting pool. Grim backwoods, just so at least if, for example, there's those 1/1 elves that you want to get rid of, you can sacrifice them and draw a card for a card advantage because you don't have access to blue here. And then Pendelhaven to make those 1/1 tokens +1/+2, so you make them a 2/3 body, which is at least a bigger body than a 1/1. Tainted Wood, Llanowar Wastes, Orborg Tomb of Yawgmoth. That helps to get the what card was this? Tainted Wood. To because play this ability only if you control a swamp, so you can play both green and black for that. Golgari Root Farm. We also have Woodland Cemetery, Overgrown Tomb, Twilight Mire, the Filter Lands, and you have two fetch. I put two fetch lands here: Windswept Heath to get my forest for a Overgrown Tomb, for example, and then Verdant Catacombs as well. And then we put access into 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9 forests. And I also put in 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11 swamps. And then I put a few planeswalkers here. We put Fraelis, just for the ability, aside from the green elf druid tokens that's like Llanowar elves. The best part I like here is the destroy artifact or enchantment. It's like a permanent that you have that can destroy an artifact or enchantment, as well as the draw card for each green creature you control. So for example, you have a let's say an army of green elf warrior tokens from Nath, and then use Fraelis' last ability. At least that's again a card advantage for you. Vraska the Unseen, one of my favorite planeswalkers, just so because the last ability. So to put like 3/1/1 black assassin tokens that whenever this creature deals combat damage to a player, that player loses the game. Unless your opponent's playing red, then I'll be scared to use this one. But again, you'll never know, right? And then for the gold cards, but Putrefy, so destroy artifact or creature, can't be regenerated. Abrupt Decay, one of the best ones, especially against blue, because it can't be countered. Destroy non-land permanent with converted mana cost 3 or less. Maelstrom Pulse, especially with those token generators from your opponents. This is one of the best cards, sorcery for 3cc. Pernicious Deed is like your Nevinyral's disc here. And it works best with the next card here, which is one of my favorite cards, Spirit Monger. Because even if you set your bomb for Pernicious Deed, your Spirit Monger may still be alive just because of the regenerate ability. For a 5cc, you get a 6/6 body that can also be a color of your choice, which is also like a Send Your Vampire, it gets a +1/+1 counter when only if he deals damage to a creature. He doesn't necessarily have to kill it, but at least deals damage, get a +1/+1 counter. Old school, but one of the best old school rock from the rock decks. Of course, you'll put a Solemn Simulacrum to get more either basic forest or basic swamp. One of the best utility artifact creatures ever. Same as the next guy, Duplicant, because it imprints with the imprint ability. I mean, the exile target non-token creature. The best thing about this is that Duplicant is colorless, so at least even if the creatures has the creature you wanted to exile is has a protection from whichever color, you're safe with that. Unless, of course, if it says protection from artifacts or from colorless abilities, then yeah. Umizawa's Jite, one of the best equipments. So you want to put this on Nath of the Gilt-leaf. The good thing about this is that the charge counters, you can either put +2/+2 for the equipped creature, or this is my favorite part here. Target creature gets -1/-1 until end of turn. Because you get two charge counters, so you can automatically put -2/-2 or two -1/-1 on token creatures, for example, from your opponents. And to save the best for last, you gain 2 life if in case you may need that later in the game. You also have access to Golgari Signet, just so at least for the quick mana fix. Felwar Stone, Mind Stone. I like this version though because it's really like the brain with the DCI logo in the middle that's very shiny. We also have Scepter of Fugue because of the ability to discard a card. So you get an extra 1/1 token if in case you have Nath in play. It's way too cool, like the foiling plus the signed card of this one. Not really one of the best cards, but for me, especially for this deck, it really works well with Nath. It's like a disrupting scepter. It's just that you just need black mana for this one as opposed to the disrupting scepter. Powder keg for reset purposes. Smokestack, one of the best stack cards, so you can at least destroy one of, because you're already discarding your opponent's, disrupting his hand, so you might want to also have access into this destroying his or her permanents. And this is one of those best cards. You don't have Goblin Welder here, but Smokestack is always one of the best options for any deck, especially if you play control. Nevinyral's Disc, signed by Mark Tedin. This is your reset button as well in case you get in trouble early in the game. At least you still have a way to reset it in case you won't be able to set it up the way you want it to. Oxidize, it's a better version of Crumble because just destroy artifact can be regenerated and your opponent doesn't need to gain life with that too. Heroic Intervention, I like this one because your permanents become hexproof and indestructible in cases like there's a play like an Armageddon in play or a Wrath of God, Damnation. This is like your a card that would just appear instantly and like as a big surprise to your opponent, especially if they're playing blue or red. This is one of the best 2-drop cards ever. Rampant Growth, I like this version just because it's full art and it's Therese Nielsen. Cultivate, so at least there's some mana ramping, Rampant Growth, and Cultivate, Crows and Grip, especially if your opponent plays blue, destroy artifact or enchantment and it can't be countered. Regrowth, I think this is alpha or beta version. Return any card from your graveyard, whichever you want. Pick your poison, right? Your opponent's poison, I mean. Then Ice Storm, you want to destroy some of their lands. I put a few mana creatures here, like a Birds of Paradise, so especially if you both play green and blue. Llanowar Elves, I think this is beta too. Elves of Deep Shadow, the art here is way too cool. Jesper Myreforce. Yeah. Deathrite Shaman, this is signed by Steve Argyle. One of the best one, like slash one half drops because you can either choose green or black. One of the best utility creatures ever for a 1 to cast 1/2 body. Priest of Titania, especially have lots of elves here. She's one of the best mana producers here. Viridian Zealot, this again destroy target artifact enchantment. You can, this is like a time bomb. You can use him anytime. Sakura Tribe Elder for fetching your lands. I put a Tarmogoyf just so because you discard a lot of cards from your opponent, and you also would may destroy any permanent. So at least you'll have the Tarmogoyf will be fatter, juicier early in the game if you manage to play this bad boy. Reclamation Sage, destroy artifact or enchantment, like mid full art version. Eternal Witness, like regrowth in a 2/1 body. Ravenous Baloth, sacrifice a beast. You can either sacrifice himself, especially for a 4 drop, and then you can either use him or Spirit Monger in this case. Acidic Slime, one of the best utility creatures as well. For 5 mana, choose whichever almost like artifact, enchantment, or land plus a death touch. Crows and Tusker. Usually I just cycle this guy and then draw a card and then search for like a rampant growth, right? Kev Walker art's too cool too. Hypnotic Spectre for the extra discard advantage for your opponent. For yourself, I mean, in for your to beat your opponent quicker and get them to discard more cards. Greening Demon, because I don't have the ability to buy a Juzam Dijin, so I'll choose the cheaper version. Though you lose 2 life, but still for to cast 6/6, I'll take that anytime. Braids your smokestack in a legendary body. Desecration Demon, 4 to cast 6/6, better than Juzam for me. Flying, I mean, what more else would you like? And I don't think he may have the ability to sacrifice any creature because you have lots of destroy target permanent here. You discard his cards in hand, so this would be a quick finish for the Desecration Demon to finish off your opponent. Shieldred Whispering one. Runescar Demon, like that demon with the demonic shooter body. We want to put a dark ritual, so to make it to cast creatures or whichever you want faster with 1 black mana to get 3 black. Night's Whisper, card advantage. Beacon of Unrest, so you might want to use any of a creature that died, or any card that your opponent discarded. You can use for your advantage, and you even shuffle this back into your library. Animate Dead, just because again, anything that you discarded from your opponent, use it to your advantage for two mana. Phyrexian Arena, card advantage. I'll take this anytime. Underworld Dreams. This is just to make it a bit more fun to play the deck. Duress, of course. These are the discard cards now. Duress, your first turn, discard. Everyone probably knows Duress. Cabal Therapy. So this is because I like the rock deck. I'm a very big fan of that. So Cabal Therapy, you can use this one. So name and land card. So if all else fails, at least you were able to like Glasses of Urza your opponent. So at least you know which to discard next. If there's lots of creatures you can sacrifice, even those 1/1 tokens from Nath of the Gilt-leaf is fine. This Spice, like a Duress version, but this time you choose a creature or a planeswalker. So you can either animate Dead or Beacon of Unrest thereafter. Hymn to Turak, one of the best old school discard cards. Praetor's Grasp. This is a bit tricky for your opponent. He wouldn't see this coming. Torment of Hailfire, one of the best cards from this expansion. Because like repeat the following process X times. Each opponent loses X life unless the player sacrifices and non-land permanent discards a card. It's like you're not giving him any choice here. I like this sorcery really. One of the best X to cast sorceries I've ever seen. For black. Innocent Blood. Terror, the old school full art version. Diabolic Edict, Go for the Throat, Hero's Downfall. There's lots of options here. Dismember, like for the early part of the game, if you don't have much mana, this is a good creature killer. Contagion, this is also like one of the early surprises. If he, for example, puts a Llanowar elf and another one elf, for example, that you'll be able to kill immediately, or a Savannah Lions, Decree of Pain. The thing I chose this as opposed to a Damnation because of the card advantage. Especially have access to lots of destroy target creature, destroy this permanent. I'd rather, I mean, you'll have enough mana to play Decree of Pain later on. And the art of this version is way too cooler than the original version from Scourge. Sinkhole, so you can again destroy at least one of your opponent's lands. So it's not just like you're just discarding his cards, but you also destroy any of his permanents. So he'll be crippled turn 3 or 4, and you control the game. You get access to two tutors here: Diabolic Intent. Again, any of your excess elf tokens you can use to your advantage, and Demonic Tutor, of course. Who would not want to use this guy? So overall, this is a good deck for me. I hope you learned something here. If you have any questions, please feel free to comment. But again, this is based on your skill, luck, and play group. This is not really that super competitive yet as we speak, but this is a good deck to play with for me, for casual EDH, or for any of the in this matter. Okay, thank you so much again for your time, and hope to see you again soon.